It started as a one-off embarrassment for the poll-weary Congress party, their chief minister getting booed in front of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But when it happened in quick succession, one chief minister after another, they decided enough was enough. They were going to start boycotting Prime Minister Narendra Modi's events. On agenda today, we ask, is that going over the top? Is the Congress just being petulant?
धन्यवाद, जय हिंद।
प्रधानमंत्री जी को संज्ञान लेना चाहिए। ये संघीय ढांचा का वो वकालत करते हैं। मुझे तो लगता है ये सिस्टम का बलात्कार है।
अगर ये इनका ही रवैया ऐसा ही रहा तो आगे कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट का अगर शिलान्यास के लिए आएंगे, प्रधानमंत्री या उनके मंत्री, मैं उसमें नहीं जाऊंगा।
प्रधानमंत्री जी, मैं समझता हूँ
प्रधानमंत्री के कार्यक्रम में जो घटनाएं घटी, उसके चलते मैंने प्रधानमंत्री का कार्यक्रम में नहीं सहभागी होने का निर्णय लिया है।
Is it a formal order? Is it an advisory? Rashmikant ji, what is it?
Well, it's neither an advisory nor a formal order, but it's certainly a decision that the party is taking essentially to protect the dignity of the chief ministers. I think the Congress wants to make it a bipartisan issue. We certainly are in favor of dignity for the Prime Minister, but the government of the day must realize the difference between a political rally and a government-sponsored, a government function.
Okay, so
a government function has to be a bipartisan function.
Just to clarify, what you're getting at is this didn't happen by chance. You're saying it's all organized by, that's what you're alleging, that it's all organized by the Prime Minister's people.
In fact,
and that is why even right now, when the metro inauguration happened, you decided to not even go to take credit for that. Prithviraj Chavan decided to skip that as well.
In fact, it's a pattern that is that the Prime Minister has been following even before he became the Prime Minister. If you remember in Bangalore when Mr. Anant Kumar took the stage during the Karnataka elections, he was booed, he was not allowed to speak till Mr. Narendra Modi came and he calmed the crowd down. So there's a pattern there that you put a certain number of people along the entire gathering, and then you suddenly take Modi's name, you hype it up totally, and essentially to show the other personality down.
But they say these are Aam Aadmis, and maybe the Congress hasn't been doing well. Is it a possibility?
Well, the point is you need to know that even as early as 3 months ago, Mr. Huda organized a rally in Gohana, which was attended by over 5 lakh people.
Okay.
Now in Haryana, he could have very easily got 2,000 people to shout slogans in his favor.
Okay.
He wanted to make it a bipartisan event. In spite of the fact that he was insulted, the Prime Minister did not take any step which he should have done to control the BJP supporters, because it is a very well orchestrated strategy where he tried to turn a government event into a political event.
That's where we get the BJP to respond. That they have a long list of complaints. That you organize this, make it a political rally, get people there to boo the chief ministers.
It can't get any more funnier than this, because if the people of the country, they have cheered for him in Lok Sabha elections, and you know what the results of those elections are. The kind of performance that the BJP has achieved in Lok Sabha elections is actually vindicative of the fact that that was not an orchestrated support for the Prime Minister, but it was a genuine groundswell of support for the leader. And that continues. I think the bad news for the Congress is that the Prime Minister's popularity continues unabated. In fact, it's still getting consolidated.
So you didn't organize this?
No, these are the people who have come in. They are not party cadres. They are not government servants. They are not government servants.
Okay, let him.
They are not government servants. So let me have my say. And then these are not party functionaries. Okay, and these are not government servants as if we have given them a directive to boo the chief ministers. If anything, this is a sign of things to come. The same signals were visible before the Lok Sabha elections. The same signals were visible before Delhi Assembly elections. How people ran away, how people after attending Rahul Gandhi's rally, even as he started the rally, people began to leave. Sheila Dikshit tried to really somehow retain the crowd. They didn't listen.
How would you respond to their allegation that the Prime Minister could have intervened?
No, you cannot silence the voice of the people of the country.
No,
if they were,
the Prime Minister could certainly say that this is a government organized,
No, but then it doesn't mean that you can control the people.
Prime Minister,
we have to ask you, first of all, as an outsider, how does this entire controversy seem to you?
Well, it's a worrying thing, because let's leave aside for a moment the Congress suspicion that Mr. Modi or the Prime Minister's people have organized this shouting and chanting, right? It's one thing for somebody to signal their approval of Mr. Modi as Prime Minister. Mr. Narasimha is right that Mr. Modi is popular, his popularity is riding high. People want to applaud that, celebrate that. That shouldn't mean that you then run down somebody else, right? When you do that, that's a different kind of politics.
How are they running down?
Well, when you boo a chief minister, right? So it's one thing to applaud Mr. Modi, but if you're going to boo somebody else, and incidentally, this is happening not just for Congress, right? There was a kabaddi tournament or match in Delhi recently, where Mr. L.K. Advani, who was known to be a rival to Mr. Modi recently, in the run-up to the whole, his selection as the party's prime ministerial candidate, when Advani came on to, I think he was going to make a speech or some remarks.
Yeah, that's an interesting
People
point.
booed him down, right? So there's something ugly happening in the texture of our politics, where people are not just content with supporting somebody that they like, but they want to run down everybody else, right? And I think this is where the...
But is it dangerous?
It is very dangerous.
Is it dangerous to allege that without... Do we have evidence?
No, I'm not saying, hang on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Modi is orchestrating this, right? I'm saying that something is happening in the texture of Indian politics where one sec. Like something is happening which is unsavory, unpleasant, and I would say even dangerous, right? So now the question comes to Mr. Modi's role.
Yeah.
I would say that the quality of a true leader is to say this is a negative trend in public life, right? You don't want somebody being heckled. You don't want hecklers exercising a veto over who can speak and who can't speak. So Mr. Modi, given the stature, given the popularity that he enjoys, is clearly in a position to take the moral high ground, tell people who are allegedly acting in his support to say, look, don't do this, right? You're cheapening the public discourse. You're insulting a constitutional...
Just to point out to our viewers right now, what did happen today was that when Hemant Soren was... another non-BJP chief minister was trying to speak, that he did tell people to sit down, and they continued, and Hemant Soren had to fast forward his speech and speak. So he did try and tell people, he indicated to them. You don't think that enough?
I mean, he needs to do, in the sense that he has to recognize that if the chief minister of a state is being insulted in this way, this is an insult also to the Prime Minister, the insult to the Constitution of India, right?
I want to ask what they think of it, but quickly, do you want to respond to what Siddharth Varadarajan is saying?
It is not as if Mr. Modi has egged on anybody to heckle the chief ministers. And if the chief ministers in their own states, if they cannot really find support, I think you cannot blame the Prime Minister for this. I think he is not to be blamed.
What about the statesman quality that Siddharth Varadarajan is bringing up? That, maybe he should, because he's gone now he's Prime Minister.
He has already gesticulated today. And that beyond that, nobody, let me emphasize, nobody is in a position to dictate to the people, this is the leader that you should really be enamored of. This is the leader that you should shout slogans for.
Point that I'd like to make here. The fact is that this trend has happened only with Mr. Modi. When Mr. Varadarajan says this is a disturbing trend, it is a disturbing trend for the simple reason that we have lost all idea of what civilized conduct is.
Because you have not seen...
That is the important point.
Well,
Mr. Modi may be popular today. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi had 416 seats at one time.
You haven't seen a leader of his popularity. He's actually, let me say this, is a look at the way popular cricket stars, popular sports stars enjoy support. When they do well, the whole nation cheers for them.
But it does not do anyone else.
No, they do it. When some leaders, some sportsmen don't perform, people jeer them. This is same analogy that's operative here.
We just have to see how people
You are talking about the executive head of a state.
Politics is like a game. like a sports game. When there is India-Pakistan match going on and when the crowd cheers for India, that doesn't mean that it's a strategy of India to put down Pakistan or put down some other team.
So you're saying Congress is completely wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
it's not the strategy of BJP.
Okay, you wanted to say something, yeah?
I don't understand one thing, that why the leaders and the people connected with Congress are not able to digest their defeat. Because often we see on the television programs that leaders associated with Congress are seen in wrong body language or in commenting wrong things against BJP. At least let them prove themselves for, we are hoping for 5 more years.
You know, actually online as well, a lot of people seem to think that you're just being petulant.
See, as far as
you're not accepting the fact that maybe you haven't done well and you're not popular.
I think we accepted our defeat far earlier than BJP accepted their victory. It appears to me like that. On the very first day, by 2 p.m., virtually everybody in the Congress knew. It took some time to digest. Naturally, it was a big defeat. It was demoralizing, but the Congress certainly has accepted it, and that is why it is taking corrective action so that such a thing is not repeated. So it is wrong to say that the Congress has not accepted it or giving an analogy of a sports person. Okay. Here we are talking about the dignity of an elected chief minister of a state who is the executive head of the state. You cannot add indignity to him in front of the prime minister without the prime minister taking any action. We are talking about the dignity because he represents Mr. Modi.
But people have equal rights to go a leader and support against leader. You cannot ask the audience.
Bipartisan events where this is not done. You do it in a political rally, there is no problem. We are talking about a bipartisan event which is a government event.
So let's get a
was it a political rally? There is absolutely no problem. Go and do what you want.
The Congress says what it is.
We have no problem with it.
They say it's nothing to do. But
go 10 times ahead.
No
problem at all.
To boycott it. Do you think that it is the right kind of reaction?
You know, you can debate the tactics of this, quite frankly. I don't personally think boycotting an event where the PM is going to be present is clever politics. Yeah. I think a cleverer, smarter strategy would be to go there. And even if these untoward incidents happen, you take it on the chin. To my mind, the more this happens, the greater is your ammunition against Narendra Modi as a statesman and leader, because you can point out that, look, we've come here, we're fulfilling our duty.
Yes.
And if there is a section of the audience that's behaving in a lumpen manner, then we need to counter this together, right? Because it's the dignity, the dignity of the Indian Constitution of elected office that's at stake.
There's a lot of talk about protocol, Siddharth Varatharajan. Is there a protocol that if the Prime Minister there, Chief Minister has to be there? Could you clarify that for us?
Well, there is protocol that by and large when the PM attends these sorts of events, the Chief Minister should be with him.
Yeah.
So I think that is an important issue. But I would say that by and large, both leaders ought to avoid using these kinds of functions for political gain. Now, it's clear to me that in an election year, both in Haryana and Maharashtra, for example, it doesn't surprise me that this is where these incidents are happening.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and Jharkhand, exactly.
Okay, so I know you want to come in here, but we'll just
from 5 to 10 years, we know that BJP, Congress will do something for us. But BJP, whenever Congress done for us, they will boo them, or that's why sometimes they ask Huda will booed. So Huda will decided not to attend, dies. Not to attend, she dies.
Okay, let's get in that.
That's
question. One other question. Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to say that Modi is now a superior political figure. So it's totally justified if people are more, crazy about him.
Okay.